In this episode, Mike and Melissa tell us about Hey Dog. Now, Haley, Zeus, and Olivia give some advice to prevent separation anxiety and ask you to watch out during the summer when walking dogs on cement or asphalt. Hello, everyone. Tom Fox back again with Michael and Melissa Novelli for another episode of Pawtastic Friends, the Paw Talk. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good. How are
Good,
you?
good, Tom. Thanks for having us back again.
Hey, do you have some dogs to talk to us about this week?
Absolutely. You want to tell them all about Hey Dog, now Haley?
Hey Dog was a success story. She was my Monday buddy. She would come to training and then spend the morning in the office with me, and we'd have girl time, sharing gossip, drinking Pinos. Well, I was drinking Starbucks and she was drinking a puppuccino. And she'd snuggle up. I'd have a bed in here with blankets and she'd sleep and then she'd wake up. So she was just this amazing dog that was found in a field. That's why she got her name Hey Dog. And Michael was fortunate enough to take her and showcase her on one of the news stations. And someone fell in love with her. So we had them come to the center and did a meet and greet. They immediately were just taken with her. And so they took her home and now they call her Haley. And when we did our calendar contest last year, 2023 contest, she was one of the months. So she is now a fashionista that's featured in our calendar. And we just got done with our calendar contest for 2024, and she made the calendar again. So she's quite the diva. She knows what she wants, and she is living her best life. And her story was just this happily ever after.
Wow, Pawtastic Friends Playmates. I'd never thought of that.
Yeah,
Welcome to Las Vegas.
Yeah, welcome to Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world.
she actually
So,
is Miss May, so she's up there now.
Yeah, we're looking
the
at it right now.
calendar.
And in fact, I'm going to grab it so you just see it. So it's pretty awesome. So this is her right there.
Miss May, there
Yeah,
we go.
Yeah, Haley, Miss May. Yeah, that was
So,
one of the dogs Melissa wanted to take home.
I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit, last week we just learned about puppuccinos. Could you tell the audience what a puppuccino is?
So every Monday, I go through the Starbucks drive-through or Dutch Brothers here, and I order my drink and I say, "Can I get 3 puppuccinos or 3 pup cups?" So the Monday dogs are spoiled. They give me a drink carrier with little individual cups, and they have whipped cream. Some have little dog biscuits in there. And after their training session, not only did they get kisses and hugs and belly rubs, but they get a puppuccino.
And I will tell you, dogs love puppuccinos.
They do.
They do.
Okay, who do you have up next for us?
So let me tell them about Zeus. I'll tell you what, you start them about Zeus, and then I'll tell them how it all happened.
So Zeus was an older pup. He was adopted, and the owner returned him after quite some time. Then couldn't live without him, so they adopted him again, and he took him to work with him. He was inseparable with him. But then Zeus started to develop separation anxiety. So on days where he couldn't take him to the office, Zeus was not doing well. So ultimately, he returned him for good. And then
I got this part. So we had one of our fundraisers, and one of our friends, Kelly, that we known since before we adopted our dogs, said to Melissa, "I think we're ready to get a big dog." So Melissa told him all about Zeus. Go ahead and tell him all the good parts then.
Yeah, so then I told her all about Zeus. I'm like, "I've got the perfect dog." And she said, "Can I see the dog now?" And I go, "It's 8:30 at night. I really don't want to be waking the dogs up because he is in a boarding place right next door to us." And so I reached out to my friend Lori where he was boarded, and I said, "Hey, I have somebody interested in Zeus." And she's like, "I just got back into town. They can meet him today." Met him on that day, Sunday, and took him home. They changed their plans. They're like, "He's going home." So now he has 2 furry senior siblings. One, I believe, is blind, and he does well. And what's great is Kelly is a vet tech. So she takes him to work with her every day. So he never has to worry about being alone because he's always with her throughout the day.
And the best part is Kelly and Mike, when they adopted Zeus, Zeus was the 600th dog adopted that's been through our enrichment training program. So great milestone for everybody.
Could you guys explain what separation anxiety is in a dog? What are some of the signs and really how an owner can help dogs who have separation anxiety?
You could.
Go ahead, because we just had a great class on this with Kelly Bolin that was here, and she explained that.
So, separation anxiety is what some dogs fear that their owner or their family is leaving them and they're not going to come back. So, some of them have it so severe they will end up hurting themselves, chewing through walls, chewing through door frames, through just destroying stuff because they're trying to get to their owner. So, they have different things for separation anxiety, but a lot of things are like safety, like creating a safe domain where they have their little kennel and that's their house. So you could start out with leaving the door open and the dog goes in and comes out, and then take little steps to help them realize that even though you're leaving, you're always going to come back. So that means like the next step might be walking to the mailbox. Okay, then they come back. Or now going to the car and they can see you going to the car and then you're coming back. Next step might be going to the car and starting it. Then you go back. And then eventually it builds this kind of bond and trust where that they feel secure enough that they know even though you're leaving, you're coming back.
Because what happens is a lot of times is when these dogs get surrendered to the shelter, their owners never come back, and they're like, they're thinking, "Oh my God, what happened?" So now they have a new owner. This is going to happen again. So the things that we learned from Kelly and what Melissa just explained, that Kelly was telling us, really good stuff to help the dogs, because you don't want to see the dog hurt themselves, and you want them to know that you're coming back.
So, who's up next?
Olivia, you get to see Olivia a lot.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah. So Olivia, she is a little terrier that has a mohawk, and you can see her there. She is adorable. Found herself in boarding. We didn't know she was there for 7 weeks. We had no idea that she was there. I reached out to the rescue, and the rescue said, yeah, add her to the walk list. So we spend every Tuesday with Olivia. Olivia needs to be your one and only. She loves training. She's excellent in the car. She's quite the character on TV because we took her on TV. So she's quite the character. And with Olivia, she loves the toy box. So when we do our boarding buddies program, we have it set up like it's little houses out there. So we have like beds out there, we have like puzzles out there. So we have a toy box, and I keep adding toys into the toy box. As soon as Olivia comes out, her favorite volunteers, Pat and Jackie, go to take her for a walk. She beelines to the toy box. She jumps in the toy box, flings the toys out until she finds the new toy. Then she takes it. She wants to go lay down and play. And she's like the toy box police. So she'll sit there and she'll look and she'll watch and she'll see the next dog go over and she'll be like, ruff. And then she looks, and then they're like, come on, everybody deserves a toy. Then she'll finally go and walk a little bit, but that's all she wants. She wants the toy box. She wants her toys. She loves toys.
Melissa, you mentioned a phrase I've not heard before, which was boarding buddies. What's boarding buddies?
So boarding buddies, we have a team of volunteers that go out to the one of the boarding facilities. We go every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and we get all the dogs out. Today we walked 15. Our friend Nicole, she's out of town, so I had to jump in, and we walk the dogs. We spend time with them, usually about an hour to an hour and a half with each dog. But now it's starting to get hot, so we'll have to shorten that down. So, like on days like today, we'll have the toy box out. We have tents set up so that there's some shade. We walk them, we play with them. Now we're going to be incorporating reading to them and bubbles, because we give them all types of enrichment to help their stay in boarding or the shelters a little a little more tolerable. So they come out, they spend quality time. Some of the volunteers take a couple of the dogs to the park, Finn and Leon, and then volunteer Keith always drives through Chick-fil-A or one of McDonald's or Burger King, whatever's got the 2-for-1 coupon that week. And then he brings back a bag full of burgers and little sandwiches. So they all get a treat. And what's really awesome too is we teamed up with a group out here, Opportunity Village, and it's a organization that helps children and adults with learning disabilities. So every Monday they pick up treats from us, and the kids do task work. So they put them in little baggies. So the treat bags are already made for the volunteers. When the volunteers grab a dog, they just grab a treat bag and they share the treats with the dogs. And the kids can't, they love it. They love helping the dogs, and they fight for who's gonna make the treat bags. So it's pretty awesome.
So, Michael, hopefully our listeners know you guys are in Las Vegas, but could you say a few words about walking dogs in the heat? Do you have some guidelines about when or how hot how owners should watch the heat, and how do you guys have to deal with that a lot? How do you help people understand that?
Dogs paw the pads very sensitive. When people are out walking their dogs, when it's even over 80 degrees, that ground gets really hot and it can do severe damage to the pads of the paws of the dogs. So what people should do is they should put their hands down on the concrete and see if it's hot. If it's hot, your dog shouldn't be walking. If you see somebody in your neighborhood walking a dog when it's hot, there's people out here that walk their dogs when it's 100 degrees out, and we're like, what are you doing? Are you trying to explain it to some people? But some people want to listen. Some people don't even think about, oh, I didn't even think about it. You tell people it'd be like you walking barefoot on the hot concrete when it's 90 degrees out. You don't want to do it. So your dog definitely doesn't want to do it. And we've seen dogs that people walked in the heat and their pads have been severely burned. And that's horrifically painful. Even when it's like in the high 70s, don't be walking your dogs on the hot concrete. In the blacktop, forget about it. The blacktop that's terrible.
Yeah, we always test the blacktop
Yeah.
because there's a lot of that when we're walking the dogs. And also they have those metal things on the sidewalks. Those get really extremely hot.
You can burn a dog's pads in minutes, maybe even seconds. But it's like you need to say something to people and be like, hey, just want to let you know, maybe they don't know. Put your hand on the ground. Is it too hot for your hand? Imagine your dog's paw pads that are a lot more sensitive than your hand or your feet.
So we've got a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask you, you had your big annual fundraiser. I wanted to ask you how that went. And then you had a really interesting class that you've mentioned a couple of times in this podcast last Saturday about dog psychology and, more importantly, people psychology. Could you tell us a little bit about both of those events, how they went for you?
You can tell them about the block party. I'll tell them about Kelly Bowen. How about that?
So the Black Party is our annual event, and it was an incredible day. The weather cooperated. There was no wind. We had some awesome local entertainment, local vendors, dance fitness, where they did a dance class, silent auction and raffle, and it was just an amazing day. Thankful to all the volunteers that help put it together. It takes hours and months and planning and executing. So we're grateful to the volunteers that always show up for us. With that, we were able to raise $18,845. I believe that was the exact amount from the event. So we were really lucky to do that. And it was just an awesome day. Free event for everybody, and the whole family came out and had fun.
And then this past weekend, we had Kelly Bowen. She came down and donated her time to educate the Las Vegas community on animal behavior. She has her master's in that. She teaches college courses, which we actually took one of her classes. We had almost 100 people here Saturday and Sunday learning from Kelly about animal behavior. And we've had a lot of people that were here with the rescues and the shelters and volunteers, and they learned a lot of things that they didn't know, common sense things, or just things that they weren't educated on. So it was really good for the community. We're going to be doing it again. So we're so thankful to Kelly Bowen for coming down and donating her time to educate people and teach them what dogs are thinking and how to treat dogs.
And how to read body language, things that are vital for the rescue world, and things that are vital when you have your own dog.
And like one thing, like people think that dogs love to be hugged. They tolerate it, but they don't like it. And then a lot of times people with kids, they got kids on the back of a dog. People need to learn. We need to teach people.
Guys, unfortunately, we're near the end of our time for this episode. But before we leave, if people want to find out more about Pawtastic Friends, where can they go?
Pawtasticfriends.com. That's our website. You can also follow us on Facebook, Pawtastic Friends. We're always looking for sponsors, donors, because a 5,000 square foot center, we train over 50 dogs a week, it's pretty costly, and we count on the community and businesses to help us.
Guys, I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Thanks so much, Tom. We greatly appreciate you helping us spread our message to everybody on your podcast network.
This is Tom Fox again. I hope you will consider a donation to Pawtastic Friends. They do great work, and all the money goes to help the dogs. Please consider a gift of $50 or $100. I've linked to their site in the show notes, so check out Pawtastic Friends. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I hope you'll subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast wherever great podcasts are listened to. Pawtastic Friends is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.